Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, we are a little late because of some technical issue. So, uh, as we all know, we are here for the online sessions on the additional portion added in the new syllabus for CA Foundation Accounts paper. So, we had already started with one chapter. We've already finished it. Now, we're going to start the second uh, edition. There are totally five chapters which have been added, five topics, five concepts which have been added for your CA Foundation syllabus, accounting syllabus. Now we're going to do the second of the editions, which is also from the company accounts itself. So company accounts earlier we used to have three units, which is introduction to company accounts, and we had issue, forfeiture, reissue, and then issue of debentures. But now we have six units in all. So the first three units are the same, and the next three units are bonus issue and right issue, which is already done. Right? We already discussed bonus issue and right issue concepts in the previous class. And the second one, which is second or the fifth unit, second edition. Fifth unit is redemption of preferences, which I'm going to discuss in today's lecture. Very simple unit, this one too. And the third one and the last edition is redemption of debentures, sixth unit now, redemption of debentures, which we will discuss at the later part. I mean, next after redemption of preferences, we will move to redemption of debentures. Good morning, everyone. So now let's start with the redemption of preferences. Very simple unit, some basic concepts you have to know. It is as easy as bonus issue. I'm sure you found bonus issue also very easy. So this unit is also similar to bonus issue itself. Let's first understand what is redemption and what is preferential. Right? We'll do that discussion first, and after that we can move on to the concepts. Okay, redemption of preferences. Pay proper attention when I discuss all of these points. Very simple points, but understanding it is very important for us to understand the whole chapter. The first 20 minutes of the lecture is going to be super important, conceptual. Okay. Now, redemption of preferences. Redemption of preferences. Let's understand the concept. And 1 second. Let me just connect it to. Yes. Okay. Redemption of preferences. Let's understand what this redemption of preferences is. First, we'll understand what is a preferential. As we have already seen, if you've studied, issue of shares, and that we already study, that we have two types of shares, right? One is the equity share, and the other one is the preference shares. So, what is preference share? So preference share is defined with relation to equity shares itself. So basically, preference shares are those shares which have preferential rights. So these shares have preferential rights. Now, what preferential rights do they have? ಊಟಕ್ಕೆ ಕ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಲ್ಲುವಾಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇವರಿಗೆ ಬಡಿಸ್ತಾರ? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ದಟ್ ದೀಸ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್? So it has two preferential rights, right? One is while paying the dividend. So dividend payout only, they have a preference. What does this mean is when the company annually gives dividend, first the dividend is paid to the preference shareholders, and then it is given to the equity shareholders. In fact, for the preference shareholders, it is given at a fixed rate. So the rate of dividend is already fixed by the company while issuing the dividends itself. Like for example, let's say 12% preference shares. So that means 12% is the dividend rate on these preference shares. So first their 12% is given, then whatever is left is given to the equity shareholders. Then we have second one is repayment of capital at the time of winding up. So winding up means liquidation. So when the company is being closed, the capital will be repaid to the preferential, I mean, to all the capital holders, owners, right, shareholders. So it will be repaid. So when because the company is closing down, so what does the company do is they sell off all the assets, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾರಿ ಆ ಹಣ ಬರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ರೀಪೇ ಆಲ್ ದ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್. ಉಳಿದದ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್, creditors, other loans and all, whatever they have, they repay that first. Then whatever is remaining is given to the owners of the company. Owners ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡುವಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಉಳಿದದನ್ನು ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಕೊಡೋದು. So this is the whole concept of what is a preference share. Preference share is a share which has two preferential rights. One in the time of payment of dividend, and two when the repayment of capital is done at the point of liquidation of the company. So liquidation of the company time only ಅವರಿಗೆ first preference ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. Now let's understand what is the term redemption. So redemption ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ repayment. Now in India there's a law, there's a rule that you can issue preference shares, but you should either repay it or convert shares within 20 years. What it says is a preference share must be outstanding for more than 20 years from the date of issue. So from the date of issue, the preference shares must not be outstanding for more than 20 years. So I issued the debentures in 2010. So 2010, I issued the debentures. 2010 plus 20 years, that's 2030. So debentures can be outstanding up till 2030, not beyond that. So now what do we do? Before 2030, what should I be doing then? I should either repay those debenture preference shares ನಾನು repay ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಣ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. That time it won't be outstanding, or I have to convert it into equity shares. So we have, for this sake, I can recognize one is redeemable preference shares category and one redeemable preference shares, and the other one is convertible preference shares. So now redemption and repayment. So we are repaying the preference shareholders ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ತಗೊಂಡ ಹಣವನ್ನು ನಾನು repay ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, and that is known as redeemable preference shares. Repay ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ at predefined conditions on predefined date. I'm repaying the preference shares. See, generally, the capital amount is never repaid. Okay. For example, equity shares. Equity shares are never repaid unless there's a concept of buyback of equity shares, which you'll study in intermediate syllabus. Intermediate only now, buyback of shares. Otherwise, equity shares are never redeemed or repaid. So generally, capital ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡುವ ವಿಷಯ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ till the company is closed down. And equity shares, of course, you can transfer ownership. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬನಿಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವ ಓನರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗ್ಬೋದು. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಫ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ವಾಪಸ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನಿಮ್ದು. or you can transfer the shares to someone else in the secondary market. The company will not repay it. It's not like debt. It's not like loan. It's not like debenture. Okay. Shares. But preference shares ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಉಂಟು ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಡೆಂಪ್ಷನ್. ಅದು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 20 years ಒಳಗಡೆ ನೀವು ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸಾಸ್ಟ್ ದೋಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್, ಅದನ್ನು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಆ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇರೋದು. ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ 20 years ಒಳಗಡೆ ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಕಮಿಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಕಮಿಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. 10%, 12% ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಕಂಪನಿ interest company, the interest protect ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, or to protect the company. So the government says a fixed 12%, 12%, 12% every year ಕೊಡುವಾಗ equity shares ಅವರಿಗೆ ಉಳಿಯುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಜನರಲಿ ಕಂಪನಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ, ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ ಸಿಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, company then general interest protect ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, the government is saying repay the preference shareholders as soon as possible, and then ಉಳಿದದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಗೂ equity shareholders ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. So anyway, the concept of redemption is simple. It's repayment of capital to the preference shareholders. ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡೋದು, capital ಅನ್ನು ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡೋದು. That's all. As simple as that. Now let's discuss uh, why. I mean, there are some rules. Companies acted the rules unto, which we will have to discuss in the class. The whole chapter of redemption of preferences is based on some sections of the Companies Act. So, ನಿಮಗೆ Companies Act ಇದು section ಗೊತ್ತಾದ್ರೆ, this chapter is very easy. So, it's section 55. One single section ಇರೋದು. The whole chapter is based out of just one section, which is section 55. So, we will see what is section 55 saying, and how do we go about redemption. Let's discuss. Okay, redemption is the process of repaying an obligation at pre-arranged amounts and predefined timings. These shares are issued on the terms that shareholders will at a future date be repaid the amount which they invested in the company, apart from the frequent payment of a specific amount of dividend as return on investment during the tenure of the preferences. So we already know this. So here what are they saying? Redemption means pre-arranged amounts and then ನಾನು ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ initially ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾನೆ, at pre-arranged timings ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ repay ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. That is redemption. So these shares are what are redeemable preference shares? So redeemable preference shares are issued on the terms that shareholders at a future date be repaid the amount which they invested in the company. Of course, ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ನಾನು ರಿಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, and also dividends ನಾನು at specified intervals we will also be paying dividends to the preference shareholders. The redemption date is the maturity date, which specifies when repayment is scheduled to take place and is usually printed on the preference share certificate. Fine. So it is printed on the preference share certificate when the repayment will happen in the case of redeemable preference shares. A company limited by shares, if so authorized by its articles, may issue preference shares which at the option of the company are liable to be redeemed within a period normally not exceeding 20 years from the date of issue. It should be noted that, okay, this much is enough. Next slide we will see later. Okay, we can take this down. Please take this down. Okay. Section 55. Let's read the provisions of the Companies Act, Section 55. No shares can be redeemed except out of divisible or distributable profits, that is, out of the profits of the company which would otherwise be available for dividend, or out of proceeds of fresh issue of shares made for the purpose of the redemption. Saying something important which we'll not understand now. We will have to go into a little bit of depth to understand what they're saying. But let me read it again. No shares can be redeemed except out of divisible or distributable profits. Divisible or distributable profits means what? Uh, Out of the profits which the company would otherwise be available for dividends. So profits which will be available for dividends, or proceeds of fresh issue of shares made for the purpose of redemption. This is what they are saying. Now let's understand why are they saying this first, and then we will understand what are they saying. Okay. So first, why is that sentence there, and what is the significance of it? Let me tell you one small story before we understand that rule. Now there was one guy. Okay, there was one person. Let me draw him. So there was one person. So this guy wanted to start a business. He wanted to start a business. Okay, let's name him Adarsh. Very unique name. So this person wanted to start a business. Okay. So what did he do? He had a very nice business idea. Okay. He had a very nice business idea. No, this is a. I'm trying to draw a bulb, but no. Anyway, will not do that. So he had a nice business idea in his head, but the problem was there was no money in the pocket. Business idea ಇತ್ತು ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, but ಹಣ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ pocket ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So he wanted to start a restaurant. Okay, nice restaurant in a nice location he had seen, and he wanted to start a restaurant. Now he needed for that rupees 30 lakhs. Rupees 30 lakhs he needed to start the restaurant. But he did not have a single rupee with him. He just had idea. He did not have any money with him. So he did not have a single rupee. Now, can you guess what he did? He needs 30 lakhs. He does not have a single rupee. He went to the bank. He went to the bank. And he told the banker, boss, a restaurant start ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕುಂಟು ಹಣ ಬೇಕು 30 lakh rupees. Can you pay? The bank said, okay, I'll give you the 30 lakhs. The banker gave the 30 lakhs. And what did the businessman do? What did others do? Others went, took the 30 lakhs, bought different things for the restaurant, cutlery, tables, crockery items, kitchen setup madlikke, and then he beautified the restaurant, all the interior work he did. So 30 lakhs he used, he invested in the restaurant, and he started the business. He was very passionate, okay? Started the business. Now, when he took the loan was taken at 15% interest rate. 15% was the interest rate. So he started doing the business. First day he went. he started, he got in all the raw materials, vegetables, fruits, and all of that, and started serving. There were people, his staff was there, there was kitchen staff, there were waiters. So this guy was sitting in the restaurant and seeing, supervising everything. So what he noticed was first day good business, second day good business, third day good business. So in spite of all of this good business, he was earning only 15%, roughly around 15-16% on his business. And the profit rate was only 15-16%. That's how much it is in any normal business. I mean, highest rate would be 15, 16, 20, 25%. It won't be like 100%. I invest 30 lakh, I will earn 30 lakh. No, it's not like that, right? So I invest 30 lakhs, I will earn something around 15% on it every year. So he noticed that his investment, he was earning only 15%. Now, all that 15%, whatever he earned, was going towards interest. So he ended up paying interest. In a year, now 30 lakhs into 15%, 4 lakh 50,000 we get. So 4 lakh 50,000 divided by 12. 37,500 goes into interest each month. So what others noticed after first month is, after paying out all the salaries and all expenses, he was left with something around 40,000 rupees in his pocket, and that 40,000 rupees he was giving to the banker as interest. Second month again he noticed that he was earning only, second month he worked harder, and in spite of working harder, he could earn only 40,000 rupees, which was all going as interest to the banker. Third month again he worked, again he earned only 40,000 rupees in profits. That went to the banker itself. So Adarsh sat back and was thinking that I am putting so much efforts. I am waking up early in the morning, getting all the raw materials required for the restaurant. I am arranging, I am supervising the staff, and I am not earning anything for all of these efforts. For 3 months, I've not earned anything. So what does others do? Starts ignoring his business. Does not concentrate, does not focus. So that's a loss to him. No. No. Others think, what is there to lose? I've not put a single rupee into the business. ಒಂದು ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ. ನನ್ನ ಹಣ ಇಲ್ವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ. 30 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೂಡ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದ ಲೋನ್ ತಗೊಂಡದ್ದು ನಾನು. 30 lakhs ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದ ಲೋನ್ ತಗೊಂಡದ್ದು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಹಣ ಎಂತ ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. So suddenly what will others start thinking is, my money is not into the business. Why should I work hard? And even if I'm working hard, I am earning money and I'm paying interest. ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಲಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು, ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಪೇ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು, ನಂಗೆ ಎಂತ ಉಳಿತಾನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. So this is why others stops working. Fourth month, no interest. I mean, he does not show much uh, enthusiasm towards the business. Business starts declining. Business will, others is not going to the restaurant on time. The staff is not doing their job properly because there's no one to supervise. Next fifth month also others does this. He will leave. He does not show interest towards the business at all because it's not his money. ಅವನು ಹಣವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲ business. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದ ಲೋನ್ ತಗೊಂಡ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ business ಗೆ. So ಅವನು ಹಣವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. So he starts showing lesser and lesser interest towards the business. And this results in lesser business for the restaurant. Business will decline. And also the repayment will stop. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹಣ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಹತ್ರ. ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಸರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್ ರಿಪೇ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾನು ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೆಂಟ್ ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ನಡೀಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಸಾರಿ, ವಿ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಡು ದ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್, ನಡೀಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಸಾರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ನಾನು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಲಾಸ್ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಲಾಸ್. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಲೂಸಸ್. ನಾನು ಅವತ್ತು ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ವಾಪಸ್ಸೇ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, 30 lakhs ಕೊಡ್ಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ವಾಪಸ್ಸೇ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಜಪ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್. ಎಂತ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಉಂಟು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಹತ್ರ? ಸ್ಪೂನ್, ಪ್ಲೇಟ್, ಟೇಬಲ್, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಮಾರಿ ಇಂದ ಹಣ ವಾಪಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಲೂಸ್, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. This the banker learns a lesson over here. Now, what is the lesson we will learn? The banker has learned. We'll understand it. So next, again after some time, Adarsh is disappointed, but again he gets an idea. Okay, he's a very enterprising person. Again, he gets one more idea. So what he does, one more business idea, and this time it is a textile business where someone that told him that patte marodalli margin ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಉಂಟು. So that is why he decided, because 15% ಈಗ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನ್ ಸಾಕಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೆಂಟ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So ನಾವೀಗ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಮಾರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಜಿನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಉಂಟಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So I went to the banker again. Bank ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ. I'll tell the banker, ಬಾಸ್ ಹೊಸ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಉಂಟು, ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್. ನಾನು ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಶಾಪ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಐ ನೀಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಐ ನೀಡ್ 20 lakh rupees. 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಗೆ. 20 lakhs ಬೇಕು ನಂಗೆ. ಗಿವ್ ಮಿ ದ 20 lakhs. I asked the banker. Banker has burnt his hands earlier just now, right? 30 lakh rupees ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಜನರಾಗಿ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದಾ ಇವನಿಗೆ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ? ಸೊ ಬಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಇದು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅದು. ನಾವು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಸೇ ನೋ ರೈಟ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಬಾರೋವರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಗೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದೇ ಗಿವ್ ಲೋನ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದೇರ್ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್. ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಅದು, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್. That is their income, interest income for them. So that is why they will not be able to say no directly, because that's their business. So banker rather tells, ಕೊಡುವ ನಿಂಗೆ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ, ಬಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ನಿನ್ನ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಹಣ ಹಾಕೋದು ಬೇಡ, ನೀನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಿನ್ನ ಹಣ ಹಾಕು. ಸೊ 20 lakhs ಅಲ್ಲಿ you put 25%, we will put 75%. ನೀವು 25% haki, so the owner should put, and remaining 75% the bank will give. Now, this does two things. ಹೀಗೆ ಹೇಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಎರಡು things ಆಗ್ತದೆ. It will serve two purposes for the bank. One, 20 lakhs ಮೇಲೆ, now let's say we are earning 15%. Same margin. Restaurant business ಇದೆ, margin ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಉಂಟು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. So 20 lakh into 15%. ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು? 3 lakhs. 3 lakh ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್. 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ಈ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಹತ್ರ ನಾನು 20 lakhs ಕೂಡ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಹತ್ರ ತಗೊಂಡದೆಷ್ಟು ನಾನು? 20 lakh into 75%. 15 lakhs. 15 lakhs ಮೇಲೆ 15% is the interest. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟು ನಾನು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. 15 lakhs into 15%. 2,25,000. 75,000 remaining is mine profits. So ನಾನು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಅರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಆನ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಾಸ್ 15%. ಸೊ ಆ 3 lakhs ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 20 ಲಕ್ಷದ ಕೂಡ ಲೋನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ತಗೊಂಡದ್ದು 15 lakhs, ಸೇಮ್ 15% ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So 2,25,000 is the interest that I will pay the banker. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ನಾನು 2,25,000 ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ 3 lakhs ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಉಳಿದದ್ದು 75,000 is mine. So this is one purpose. But banker will say at least ಅವನಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಉಳಿತದಲ್ಲ, some 75,000 is remaining. So he will be a little invested in the business. ಅವ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಎಫರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾನೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವೇ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಕೂಡ, ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಗಿವ್ ಫುಲ್ 20 lakhs, ಅದು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಫುಲ್ 20 lakhs. ಆ 20 lakhs ಮೇಲೆ 3 lakh ಅರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. 3 lakh ಎಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ದು ಮೇಲೆ ಅವ ಸುರಿತಾನೆ towards interest. So this will not create any motivation for the owner to do hard work, to put efforts, because nothing is left for him. No, he's not getting anything, no benefit out of putting that hard work. So he might stop putting that hard work. So that is why the banker says that we will not give you full 20 lakhs, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಣ ಹಾಕಿ. So that is one purpose, that there will be a motivating factor. Some profits will be remaining for you also. The second one is, now you will not take your business very lightly, because your 5 lakh rupees is also there in the business, right? 15 lakh the banker gave, but 25% of the capital was invested by the owner. So 5 lakh, yours money is there. In the earlier business, we had done that mistake. That full money we only gave. Banker only gave full money for that restaurant. 30 lakh ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು 30 lakh ಕೂಡ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರೇ ಹಾಕಿದ. ಆಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೂಡ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ business ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So you showed less interest in the business. Now the banker is saying you put 5 lakh, I will put 15 lakh. So ನಿಮ್ದು 5 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೂಡ ಉಂಟು business ಅಲ್ಲಿ. You will not take it lightly now. You will show some interest because your money is at stake over here. If the business fails, you lose 5 lakh rupees as well. So that is why the banker says, I'll give you a loan, but not the full amount, little bit margin we will cut. So this is the concept behind, you might have heard in the case of housing loan, in the case of vehicle loan, in any case, they'll not give you the full money. They'll, deduct out of the total amount. Let's say you're buying a flat, so the own house apartment. So you want 50 lakhs. The banker will not give you full 50 lakhs. The banker will give you 80% of that 50 lakhs. 40 lakhs banker ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ, 10 lakhs ನೀವೇ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು. For this very reason, because ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ sense of ownership ಇರಬೇಕು, you should also show some ownership towards the business, I mean towards whatever asset that is. Now here what I can do is, ಇಲ್ಲಿಗ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, he told me, let's come back to this example. He told me, Adarsh, 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಬೇಕು ನಿಂಗೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಗೆ, ನಾನು 15 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ, 5 ಲಕ್ಷ ನೀನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು. Okay, the banker will give 15 lakhs, 5 lakhs I will have to put from my own pocket. I said okay, but I checked my pocket. I did not have 5 lakh rupees. So ನಾನು ಎಂತ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, what did I do? I took money from I told the banker, okay, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು ಫುಲ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಕೇಳಿ. 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಬೇಕು, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಅವ ಫುಲ್ ಕೊಡುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೆ, ಅವ ಖಾಲಿ 15 lakhs ಕೊಡ್ತಾನಂತೆ, 75% ಕೊಡ್ತಾನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾನೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್. ಬಟ್ ನಂಗೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ 20 lakhs ಕೂಡ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರೇ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಇಸ್, ನಾನು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಹಿಮ್, ಬಾಸ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ 27 lakh ಇದ್ದು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಇದು, ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ 20 lakhs ಸಾಕು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ಐ ಲೈ ಟು ದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್. 27 lakh ಇದ್ದು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ 75% ಎಷ್ಟಾಗ್ತದೆ, 20 lakh 25,000 ಏನೋ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ನೀವು 20 lakhs ನಂಗೆ ಕೊಡಿ, 27 lakh ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ನೀವು ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ನಂಗೆ 75% ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ 20 lakhs ನೀವು ಕೊಡಿ, ಉಳ್ದದ್ 7 ಲಕ್ಷ ನಾನು ಪಾಕೆಟ್ ಇಂದ ಹಾಕ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕು ನಂಗೆ, 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಬೇಕು. ನಾನು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಮಂಗ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಐ ಕಮ್ ಅಪ್ ವಿತ್ ಅನ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ದಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್, 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಅಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಿರೋದು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, 27 ಲಕ್ಷ ಬೇಕಿರೋದು, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ 7 ಲಕ್ಷ ನಾನು ಹಾಕ್ತೇನೆ, 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ನೀವು ಹಾಕಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಎಷ್ಟು 20 lakhs, ಬಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ 27 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಶೋ 7 lakhs, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಬಾರೋ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಮೈ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್. 7 ಲಕ್ಷ ನಾನು ಬಾರೋ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಇಂದ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ನೋಡಿ 7 lakhs ನಾನು ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಇದ್ದಾಳ ಅಂತ. 7 ಲಕ್ಷ ನಾನು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಗೆ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದೆ. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ, 27 ಲಕ್ಷ ಬೇಕು, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ 7 ಲಕ್ಷ ಅವ ಹಾಕಿದಾನೆ, ಉಳಿದದ್ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ನಾವು ಹಾಕುವಂತ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾನೆ ನಂದು. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಈಗ 27 ಉಂಟು. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕು ನಂಗೆ, 20 lakhs ಮಾತ್ರ ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇ ನಾನು 7 lakhs ತೆಗೆದು ವಾಪಸ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಅವನ ಹತ್ರ 7 ಲಕ್ಷ ತಗೊಂಡದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಾನು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಬಂತು, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ 20 lakhs ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ ನಂಗೆ, ಆ 7 lakhs ನಾನು ತಗೊಂಡದನ್ನು ವಾಪಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ನಂಗೆ 20 lakhs ಸಾಕು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. I just need 20 lakhs to do the business. So I will keep the 20 lakhs and I will start doing the business. So I cheated the banker. This is cheating, right? So redemption of preferential. Now let's discuss about redemption of preferential. So what is redemption of preferentials? A repayment of capital. What is capital? Owner's money. So when in the business, there's always, whatever money invested is there is coming from two sources for funds. One is owner's money, And the other one is outsiders' money. Debentures, bank loan, and all comes under this category, outsiders' money. So ಇದು ಎರಡನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಈ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡರ್ಸ್ ಹಣ ಕೊಡುವಾಗ they'll always see how much owner's money is invested in the business. Because as I discussed just now, I gave you an example and I discussed more the owner's money, better it is for the outsiders. So outsiders will trust the business with more owner's money. So we have this ratio called debt equity ratio and all you might have heard. So ಈ ratio ಎಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ important outsiders ಗೆ. So it should be lower. ಅಂದ್ರೆ debt to equity must be lower. Lower it is, better it is for the outsiders. For example, companies like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, all these service sector industries are preferred by the bankers and all because their debt equity ratio is very low. They have not borrowed much. Service sector ಅಲ್ಲಿ generally ಹಣ ಅಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಿರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಮಷಿನರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ ಸೆಟಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಮಷಿನರೀಸ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಕರಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್, ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಸಂಬಳ ಕೊಡೋದು, ದ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿಚ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ಸ್ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿಚ್ ಅವರ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ನೀವು ತೆಗೆದು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ಓನರ್ಸ್ ಮನಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. ವೆರಿ small portion will be there, even if it is there. In many cases, it won't be there only. They'll be debt free completely. But there might be a small portion of outsiders' money, even if it is there. So, such companies, the outsiders, the lenders will also prefer because owner money haki business marta idana. So, he'll be more interested in the business. He'll show more passion towards the business. He'll work harder towards the business. So that is why such businesses are preferred by the outsiders. So Nanika, Namdu owners have invested 50 lakhs. I wanted a bank loan. 50 lakhs sakagilla nange. So I wanted a loan. I went to the outsider. I told him, boss, namdu 50 laksha untu. Neenu ಒಂದು 20 laksha business ಗೆ ಕೊಡು. The outsider will say, okay, fine, he has put 50 lakh rupees already. So he needs another additional 20 lakhs, which we will give. So he would have looked at this 50 lakhs and he would have given this 20 lakh rupees to the business. Now, next, what I will do is I will repay the capital. So let's say 15 lakh then repayment money bitan. He goes to 35 lakhs. So this guy is cheated, right? He initially saw that 50 lakhs ಇವ್ರದಿತ್ತು, ನಾನು 20 lakh ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವ ನೋಡಿದ್ದು. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಈ 15 lakh ಓನರ್ಸ್ ಹಣ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಓನರ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಮೂವಿಂಗ್ ಮನಿ. ಅವ ಹಣ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ನಾವು ತೆಗಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಈಗ 35 lakhs ಗೆ ಬಂದಂತೆ. So this person will not be very comfortable. The outsiders, the lenders won't be very comfortable with this because one, as I discussed in that banker's example, capital ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಷ್ಟು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕರ್ಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು. Banker or the outsider, the lender, will feel more secured because the businessman will work harder because the businessman's money is invested in the business. So that is why the outsider will be, always a little bit more secured. He will feel a little, secured, safe if the owner's money is invested into the business. Now you're reducing it, so that will not give good impression to him. And the second reason is always when you're repaying something, you should first repay outsiders' money. This should we have heard, right? First again, now outsiders ಎಂತ liabilities ಉಂಟು ಅದನ್ನು repay ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು capital repay ಮಾಡೋದು. ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ರಿಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಡಿಬೆಂಚರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಲೋನ್, ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಇವ್ರದೆಲ್ಲ ಹಣ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಉಳಿದ್ರೆ ಓನರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕೊಡೋದು. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಇಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ವಾಟ್ am I doing? I am repaying the owner's money. Redemption means this only. Owner's money is being repaid even before giving anything to the outsiders. First again, ನಾನು ಓನರ್ ಇದ್ದು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅನ್ನು repay ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. I am redeeming preferences. Preferences are after all owner's money. Capital, it is preference share capital. So owner's money is being repaid. So this is not very convincing for the outsiders. They will not like this. Owners should not leave the business. That's why owners' money is never repaid. I told you earlier, owners' money is not repaid. Owners' money is repaid only when the business is closing down, ideally. There's a concept of buyback of shares and all, but otherwise, generally, owners' money is given back only when the business is closing down. So, now to protect the interests of these outsiders, these lenders, outsiders means lenders, bank loan and all, our interest and protect ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ redemption ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ they will be harmed a little bit because of this reason. The capital goes down. Now first ಗೆ owners ಇದು ಹಣ repay ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾವೆ. So because of which the outsiders interest will be a little harmed. So that is why to protect their interests, we have Section 55 of the Companies Act. So Section 55 of the Companies Act is basically protecting the outsiders. I hope you understood the reason why these guys need protection. Why do we need Section 55? The reason is the owner's money is being repaid before the outsider's money. So redemption of preference shares means you're repaying the preferential capital. Preferential capital, owner's money is being repaid. So this is not as per the general sequence. The legal sequence is outsiders first, then insiders. But now in the case of redemption of preference shares, you're paying you're repaying the insiders directly. Business is not being closed, but in between the business, you're repaying them the money. So that is why so, we need to protect the interests of the outsiders. Now, what does Section 55 say? Section 55 we read earlier in the earlier session. I mean, earlier today in the beginning, I read Section 55. We'll read it again. But all it is saying is the gist of it is the capital of the company must be intact even after redemption. Capital of the company must be intact even after redemption. What does this mean? What is this? This is the gist of Section 55. Okay, Section 55 is trying to ensure this. ಇದನ್ನ ensure ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ Section 55 ಇರೋದು. ಈ sentence ಅನ್ನು ensure ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. The motto is this sentence. Section 55 with the motto is this. Capital of the company must be intact even after redemption. ಹೀಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ Section 55 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೇ ಲೈನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. But the motto, the target, the ultimate goal is this. The total capital of the business must be the same. Intact means must be the same. Even after redemption. Now, how is that possible? ಅದು ಹೇಗೆ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಸರ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ನಾನೀಗ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ 50 ಲಕ್ಷ ಉಂಟು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ 15 ಲಕ್ಷ ರಿಡೆಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ 35 lakhs ಗೆ ಬಂತು ನಿಂತಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಅದು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅದು 50 lakhs ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕು ಯಾಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡರ್ಸ್ ಇದು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರೀಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಆದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ 50 lakhs ಇರಬೇಕು ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ where Section 55 comes in. So what Section 55 says is, now let's read the Section 55 again. No shares can be redeemed except out of divisible or distributable profits, or, okay, the first part I will discuss later. We'll first go to the second part. Or out of the proceeds of fresh issue of shares made for the purpose of redemption. So, what the Companies Act is saying is, you redeem Madi, problem illa. But you can redeem it out of two sources only. One, you should issue the fresh issue of shares, issue fresh shares. ನೀವು ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇದು ಸೊ 15 ಲಕ್ಷದ ನೀವು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ರಿಡೆಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಓಕೆ ರಿಡೀಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಟ್ ದೆನ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 15 ಲಕ್ಷದ್ದು ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಸೊ ಈಗ ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು ವಿ ಆರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು 50 lakhs ಆ 50 lakhs ಇದ್ದು 50 lakhs ಇರಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ನೀವು 15 lakhs ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಮಾಡಿ 15 lakh. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಡನ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಯು ಟು ಡೂ ಅ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಅಗೇನ್. ಹೊಸ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ equity shares or preferences ನೀವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Because the capital of the company must be intact even after redemption. It must be the same even after redemption. ಅದು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು, ಸೇಮ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ನೀವು ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ 15 lakhs, ಮಾಡಿ 15 lakh ರೀಪೇ, ಬಟ್ replace that 15 lakhs with new 15 lakh capital. So fresh issue ಮಾಡಿ, even 15 lakhs raise ಮಾಡಿ. So the capital will be the same even after the redemption. Redemption ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ capital can be same if you do this. This is one way. There was an or here. I saw the second or. So or out of proceeds of fresh issue of shares made for the purpose of redemption. So the first option which we discussed now is redemption ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, but redemption ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು fresh issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, because the capital must be intact ಇರಬೇಕು. So ನಾನು fresh issue ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ರೆಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ I don't want to do a fresh issue. ಹಣ ಉಂಟು ಕಂಪನಿ ಹತ್ರ ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ರೆಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ನಾನು ರಿಡೆಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ನಂಗೆ. ಡೂ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್? ಯು ಸೆಡ್ ಒನ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಅವರ್ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ ಗೋಲ್? ನಮ್ಮ ಗೋಲ್ ಎಂತ ಇತ್ತು? What was our goal? Our goal was to keep the capital intact. The capital must be same even after redemption. So the first solution was, ಅದ್ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಫೇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ರೀಡೀಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ರೀಡೀಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ಅದ್ರ ಫೇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಫೇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಇದು ಹೊಸ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಡೋದು. ಸೊ 15 ಲಕ್ಷ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಫೇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ನೀವು ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. 15 lakhs worth face value of shares you are repaying. So 15 lakhs worth face value you do fresh issue. Fresh issue ಮಾಡಿ 15 lakhs into shares ಅನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ raise ಮಾಡಿ. So this was our first option. The second option, I don't want to do fresh issue, sir. Do you have any other second option? Yes, we have one more option. The other option is you can use the free reserves and you can create CRR. Do you remember what is CRR? We have discussed this in bonus session. CRR. CRR is nothing but capital redemption reserve. This is our second option. Like that you can use the free reserves and you can create capital redemption reserve. What is this capital redemption reserve? Capital redemption reserve is a reserve which can be issued only for issuing fully paid bonus shares. It can be used for only one purpose. It can be utilized for issuing fully paid bonus shares. Sure, how is this option ensuring this? First option ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು, ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಮುಂಚೆ ಎಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇಡುವುದು. ಈಗ second option, how does it ensure this? You told this was the motto of section 55. ಈ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅದು satisfy ಮಾಡ್ತದ? How does it serve towards this motto? How will be the capital? The capital will not be the same. No, capital will be ಹೇಗಾಗ್ತದೆ ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ. ಈಗ 50 lakhs ಇತ್ತು ಮುಂಚೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್, 15 lakhs ಇತ್ತು, ನಾನು ರೀಪೇ ಮಾಡಿದೆ 35 lakhs. ಹೊಸ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಐ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ CRR of 15 lakhs. ಈ CRR ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ನಾಳೆ? For what purpose can we use the CRR? For giving capital only. No, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಯುಟಿಲಿಟಿಯೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ CRR ಗೆ. ಸೊ ನಾಳೆ ಆ 15 lakh ultimately will be added to capital only. So So this 35 lakh should become 15 lakh, 50 lakh tomorrow, because the CRR can be utilized for only one purpose, which is for issuing fully paid bonus shares. That means for capital only, no? ನಾವು ಈಗಲೇ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸಿಂಗ್ ನಾವು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಈಗಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಈಗಲೇ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಎನಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಕೀಪಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಫ್ರೀ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಸ್, ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟೇಬಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಸೈಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಬೋನಸ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಟುಮಾರೋ. ಬೋನಸ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾಳೆ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ ಬಿ ಆಡೆಡ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. Are you all understanding this? Are you all understanding what I'm trying to tell? Yes or no? Yes or no? So this is by creating CRR. Also, you can ensure that the capital remains intact, because CRR, it can be utilized only for bonus issue. So tomorrow's date, probably not today. ಈಗಲೇ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು, ಬಟ್ ನಾಳೆ ಬೋನಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. CRR ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಣ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಕಾಂಟ್ ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ದ CRR ಫಾರ್ ಎನಿ ಅದರ್ ಪರ್ಪಸಸ್. It can be debited only for issue of bonus shares. So now I hope you have understood. ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಎರಡು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಉಂಟು ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ 55 ಪ್ರಕಾರ. ಒಂದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ದ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ ಮೋಟೋ ಇಸ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಇಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್. So what are the two options? One, fresh issue ಮಾಡಿ shares ಅದು. Option two, you don't want to do fresh issue. ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ರಿಡೆಂಪ್ಷನ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. CRR ಹೇಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಫ್ರೀ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ಫ್ರೀ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ P&L ಅಕೌಂಟ್, ಜನರಲ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಅಂತ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ನಾನ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿ CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. So there are two options as per section 55. So now section 55 should make sense. No shares can be redeemed except out of divisible profits, divisible or distributable profit, that is free reserves. Divisible or distributable profit means free reserves. That is out of the profit of the company which would otherwise be available for dividend, or out of proceeds of fresh issue of shares made for the purpose of redemption. That's it. That's section 55. Only fully paid shares can be redeemed. The capital base of the company must be the same after the redemption. This is what I was telling you right from the beginning. Premium payable on redemption. Okay. If there's any premium, additional face value can adjust the code. In case of companies to whom section 133 is not applicable, can utilize security premium. Okay. This is a important point. I mean, we'll not use it anywhere, but you should know this. So ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯಂ ಆನ್ ರಿಡೆಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನೀಗ ಫೇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 100 rupees ಉಂಟು, ನಾನು 10 ರೂಪಿ ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯಂ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ದಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯಂ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯಂ ಆನ್ ರಿಡೆಂಪ್ಷನ್, ರೈಟ್, is a loss for the business. It's a loss for the business. It's an expense for the business. So ಆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾನು ರೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಹೌ ಡು ವಿ ರೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್? ರೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ? P&L account debit to premium account. Generally this entry is passed. But if you remember, there was one account called securities premium. So securities premium account do I utility to. In the earlier chapter also I told you, bonus issue chapter li kuda now discuss madida. Security premium has 5 utilities. Unlike CRR, capital redemption reserve has only one utility, issue of bonus shares. But security premium has 5 utilities, which is one, bonus issue, buyback, a write-off of issue related expenses, a write-off of redemption premium of debentures and securities, and shares, securities. And last one was write-off of preliminary expenses. So this is what the utility of security premium account is. 5 utilities. But then section 133 and third section 2, which is accounting standards follow ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಆ section 133 saying follow accounting standards. ಸೊ ಆ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ 133 ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಬಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಆ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಈ ಎರಡು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಯು ಕಾಂಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯಂ ಫಾರ್ ದೀಸ್ ಟು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ಈ ಎರಡು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಗೆ ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯಂ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ 133 is applicable, so section 133 ಯಾರಿಗೆ applicable? Section 133 is applicable to all the entities which are profit motive. Profit motive ಇದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ 133 applicable ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So that means almost every business except for not-for-profit organizations, right? Section 8 companies and the companies actually. Anta companies better ellarigu Section 133 applicable ಆಗ್ತದೆ. That means these 2 points are not applicable to almost all the companies which are profit motive. That is almost all the companies. Here 2 point not applicable. So for this, you just have to remember this much now. Premium payable on redemption must be out of the free reserve. In case of company, so out of the free reserves. So you can debit the premium account. You can debit the premium account to P&L only. You can't debit. So if it was a non 133 company, then you can use it for redemption premium. Redemption premium again unused ಮಾಡಬಹುದು in the security premium account. So I can do this. I can say security premium to premium on redemption. But if it is a section 133 company to whom section 133 is applicable, then you can't do this. Idu ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, because this point is not applicable for them. So the last 2 points are not applicable for section 133 companies. In the last 2 points, section 133 companies are not applicable. So because of which almost all the companies can't use security premium for last two purposes. One is the right of the redemption premium, and the other one is the right of the preliminary expenses. Okay, you can take this down. The slide and take down, Marty, please. All right, I hope we're done taking this down. Next, capital redemption reserve account. Let's write down about the CRR account as well. We had seen CRR in bonus issue. In bonus issue, I told you that we first use CRR because CRR's utility is only for issue of bonus shares. When a company engages in redemption or buyback of capital, so buyback is for equity shares. This you'll study in intermediate. The capital base is reduced. To compensate for the reduction, the company that provides that a portion of the available reserves should be separately allocated. The allocated portion should be transferred to CRR. The purpose of the CRR is to ensure that companies maintain the capital base intact in the event of a capital diminution. A capital diminution refers to depletion of the paid up capital of a company. It can be caused when a company redeems preferential capital or opts to undertake buyback. So this is what it says. We discussed this already. You can just take this down. CRR is to ensure that if there's a reduction in capital, it is kept intact. The capital. For that, we transfer to CRR. The CRR can be utilized tomorrow only for issue of bonus shares. Please take this down. 1 minute. Yeah, we can take this down. Okay, I hope we're done taking this down. Can we go to some problems? Are we done? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. We will do questions from the ICI material directly for this chapter. So I hope you've got the new ICI materials. Let's look at it from there on. Okay. So let's start. Okay, let's do a question. This is question number illustration one. Okay, illustration one. Before I go to illustration one, I did not give you the journal entries. The journal entries are very simple for bonus issue or rather for redemption of preferences. It's very easy. Pay attention when I discuss the journal entries. You can also take it down. Journal entries. Okay, so first we have to announce the redemption of preferences. So redemption of preferences announce ಮಾಡುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ preferential holders ಗೆ ಹೇಳುದು ಬಾಸ್ ನಾವು ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ we will be repaying your capital repayment ಆಗ್ತದೆ so ಈಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ to record the announcement. What is the entry to record the announcement? Can you guess? Here the capital will have to be reduced. So for that, we will have to debit the preference share capital. So preference share capital and ನಾನು debit ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. I'm debiting the preference share capital because the capital is coming down. We're reducing the capital. We know the golden rules of accounting, right? When the capital liability and income reduces, we're supposed to debit it. So here we are debiting it. If you're paying any premium, that premium is an expense for the company. So we will be debiting premium account as well. Expense just ಆಗುವಾಗ debit ಮಾಡುದು ನಾವು. So premium on redemption account is also debited. Two, preference shareholders. So the liability is towards the preference shareholders. So preference shareholders liability ನಮ್ದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು. So I am crediting the preference shareholders. So let's say this is 1 lakh, this is 10,000, this is 1 lakh 10,000. So this is the entry for announcement of redemption. So 1 lakh is towards capital, 10,000 is towards the premium on redemption, and total payable is 1 lakh 10,000, which is credited to preference shareholders account. So this is the recording of announcement of redemption. ಇದರ ನಂತರ section 55 with the rules now follow ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ two possibilities are there to follow section 55. Repayment ಮಾಡೋ ಮುಂಚೆ. Repayment is next preference shareholders account debit to bank account. Simple, right? That's the repayment. Preference shareholders account debit to bank account. So our liability towards the preference shareholders comes down, so debit it and credit the bank account. That is the entry for repayment. But before you do the repayment, we have to follow section 55 of the Companies Act. Section 55, what does it say? that you can't do any repayment unless and until you keep the capital base intact. How to keep the capital base intact? Either do a fresh issue or create CRR ಅಂದ್ರೆ free reserves ಇಂದ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So free reserves ಇಂದ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ CRR create ಮಾಡೋದು. So let's say we are doing it through fresh issue first. Fresh issue ಇದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು? The entry is bank account debit. One consolidated entry I am passing. You can also have multiple entries. Equity share capital account or preferential capital account. Basically share capital when you're issuing shares. Section 55 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಉಂಟು. ಒಂದು ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋದು. So if you follow option 1, this is the entry. We are issuing fresh shares for the sake of redemption. So this is the journal entry. Bank account debit to share capital account. I'm not doing all this application allotment stage ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Directly ನಾನು ಈ entry pass ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ. Bank account to share capital. You can also do like that. Bank account debit to equity share application. ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಡೇಟಾ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ವೈಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದು. ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್, ದಿಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಟು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ದ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿತ್ತು. ಈ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ to record fresh issue of shares. Second option is to create CRR. CRR ಹೇಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುದು? How to create CRR? CRR is created by transferring free reserves to CRR account. So free reserves account debit. This is for creation of CRR. The entry is free reserves account debit to CRR account. This is our second option. Headed option into section 55 only, these two options. So it is to ensure that the capital base is intact. We are doing 2 or 3 or both combination model, 2 and 3. So illegal capital is stoked down to 1 lakh. Okay, not 1 lakh 10,000. This 10,000 is an expense. We have to see only the capital. So 1 lakh should be either you issue fresh shares of 1 lakh, pass this entry 1 lakh, fresh shares and issue ಮಾಡಿ 1 lakh 10,000 ಅಲ್ಲ 1 lakh. Only the face value ನೋಡು. Capital ಆಗ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು, ಅದ್ರದ್ದು face value. So either you take 1 lakh rupees new shares and issue ಮಾಡಿ, or ಸರ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಬೇಡ ನಂಗೆ, I don't want to issue fresh shares. In that case, create CRR. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಅಷ್ಟು ಫ್ರೀ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. You can create CRR of 1 lakh. Not 1 lakh 10,000, only face value of the capital which is being repaid. You have to replace it with new capital. So either replace it with new capital right away or create CRR and replace it in. You can issue both the shares tomorrow using the CRR. So either two options you have to follow. So can I go for a combination of both? Can I do 50-50? Yes, you can do 50-50. 50,000 ಈಗ shares issue ಮಾಡೋದು, ಉಳಿದ 50,000 ಗೆ bonus issue ಮಾಡೋದು. This is also fine with this. Sorry, CRR create ಮಾಡೋದು ಈಗ, ನಾಳೆ bonus issue ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So you can do this also. Can I go with any other proportion? Yes, you can go with any proportion, whatever is convenient. But basically, 1 lakh needs to be replaced with another 1 lakh, so that other 1 lakh can come through new shares or CRR. After this, once you follow section 40, 55, section 55 follow ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ, next you can do the repayment. Repayment entry, preferential holders account debit. You have already passed the due entry, right? Payable entry already passed ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, liability already credit ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಈಗ payment ಮಾಡೋದು. So preferential holders account debit to bank account. So ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅವರ ಹಣ ವಾಪಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಬಿಡೋದು. This is the next option. I mean, next entry, not option. This is the next entry. And then premium write off ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. to write off the premium. As we discussed, that premium should be written off against free reserves only for companies which are following Section 133. For companies which are not following Section 133, you can write it against security premium also. Security premium against write-off Marbodu, but it is only for companies which are not following Section 133. But almost all the companies follow Section 133 because Section 133 is applicable for every company which is profit motive. So that is why I am going to write here P&L account or general reserve account debit to premium account, premium on redemption. So it will be written off against profit and loss. So these are the journal entries for. I hope you have taken this down. Have you taken it down? Redemption of preferences. These are the journal entries. Have you taken it down? Yes or no? Can we go to the problems now? Okay, let's go to the problems now. Very easy. Once you've understood all the discussions that I've made till now, you'll find the problems very easy. With logic, I have told you everything. Now just so let's do the problem. Simple entries, simple solutions. Hinduja Company Limited had 5,008% redeemable. This is illustration one. This is on page number 11.1.58. 11.158, sorry, 11.158. Okay. Hinduja Company Limited had 5,008% redeemable preference shares, 100 each, fully paid up. The company decided to redeem these preference shares at par. So they're redeeming it at par. The issue of sufficient by the issue of sufficient number of equity shares of 10 each, fully paid up at par. So they're repaying the preference shares. They have to follow Section 55. They have two options. They can either do a fresh issue of shares or they can create CRR. Now, what option are they following over here? It said by the issue of sufficient number of equity shares of 10 each. So they are doing fresh issue of shares. Section 55 ಅವರು ಹೇಗೆ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ equity shares. You're required to pass necessary journal entries, including cash transactions in the books of the company. Very easy, very simple. Let's start. Journal entries in the books of. Draw the format for the journal. Okay. Journal entries in the books of who? Hinduja Company Limited. Okay. Let's follow the sequence. What is the sequence? First, the announcement entry, the payable entry. Next, section 55 with the prakara issue ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ or CRR create ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ. Then repayment. Then, if there's premium on redemption, then write off ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. So we're going to follow that same sequence. First, Hinduja Company Limited, 5,000, 8% redeemable preference shares of 100 each fully paid out. So they're redeeming it. The company decided to redeem these preference shares at par. So let's pass the announcement entry. 8% redeemable preference share capital account. So preference share capital account ಇದು ಹೆಸರಿಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. 8% is basically the dividend rate. Redeemable because it's the type of preference share. Account debit. What is the amount? 5,000 into 100. 5,000 debentures we preferences we have, not debentures, preferences we have into 100 rupees is the face value, so 5 lakhs. There's no premium on redemption, so directly to preference shareholders. To preference shareholders account, 5 lakhs. Being redemption of preference shares at par announced. Done. First entry done. Now, next we go to section 55. So, how are we satisfying section 55? How are we fulfilling the conditions as per section 55? We are issuing fresh shares, right? So, at part by issue of sufficient number of equity shares of rupees 10 each fully paid up at par. So, ಎಷ್ಟು shares issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅವರು 5 lakh divided by 10. 10 rupees is the face value of the share. At par they are issuing. So, 50,000 shares in issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು at 10 rupees they are issuing, right? So, the journal entry. I'm passing one single entry for this bank account debit to equity share capital. You can also pass two entries for this. You can say bank account debit to equity share first application and allotment account because allot ke collect ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. So you can write the amount. Then equity share application and allotment account debit to equity share capital account. So you can pass two entries instead of one. First one is the receipt entry bank to equity share application and allotment account and the pass model. The next equity share application and allotment to equity share capital and the second entry pass model. Instead of passing two entries, I'm passing one single entry itself. This is accepted. You can do this. 5 lakhs. 5 ಲಕ್ಷದ್ದು shares and issue ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. So basically, how many shares have I issued? 50,000 equity shares have I issued. 5 ಲಕ್ಷ value ಇದು ನಾನು issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So 5 ಲಕ್ಷ value ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. Being $50,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each issued at par. issued at par. Over. Next, we have to do the repayment. Repayment entry and the preference shareholders account debit. CRR ಎಲ್ಲ creation ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ because we have issued fresh shares. Bank account. 5 lakhs. Do we have premium right of ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ premium ಉಂಟಾ premium ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? So that's all. This is it. This is the end of this question. Just 3 entries we had to pass. So that's it. That is the end of this question. Very simple question. I hope all of you have followed this, all of you have understood this. Okay, one more question. Illustration 2. C Limited had 10,000 10% redeemable preference shares of rupees 100 each, fully paid up. The company decided to redeem these preference shares at par by issue of sufficient number of equity shares of 10 each at a premium of 2 per share, as fully paid up. You are required to pass the journal entries, including cash transactions in the books of the company. Okay, let's do this. So again, a very simple question. But here, when they're issuing the equity shares, they're issuing it at 2 rupee premium. That's all. Draw the format quickly. Okay. Are you all with me? Are you all listening? Are you all understanding all of this? Or am I talking to myself? Journal entries in the books of C Limited. Say it on the chat box. There's a chat box on YouTube, right? Yes. Let's start with this. C Limited had 10,000 10% redeemable preferentials of 100 each fully paid up. So the journal entry for first announcement. What is the name of the preferential capital? 10% redeemable preference shares. The redemption is at par or redemption is at premium? The redemption is at par. So two preference share holders. It will be 100 into 10,000. What is 100 into 10,000? 10 lakhs. Being redemption of preference shares announced at par, or redemption of preference shares at par announced. Okay. Section 55 conditions. How are they satisfying? By issue of sufficient number of equity shares of 10 each at a premium of 2 per share as fully paid up. So how many shares should they issue? They have to replace the capital of 10 lakh rupees with capital of 10 lakh rupees. So how many shares should they issue? I'll wait for the answer. ಎಷ್ಟು equity shares issue ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅವ್ರು ಎಷ್ಟು equity shares issue ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು they're issuing it at a premium of 2 rupees. But while calculating how many shares to issue, we have to take the face value itself. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. So here now we have fresh issue and there is redemption. So redemption amount is face value the redemption is the 10 lakhs. Here anyway the redemption is at par only. So 10 lakh. So this 10 lakh needs to be replaced with fresh issue of 10 lakh face value plus security premium is irrelevant for me. I'm trying to keep the capital base intact. Capital base same ಇರಬೇಕು. For that, we have to replace the face value of the redeemed preferences with the face value of fresh issue. Fresh issue ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So how many shares should I issue? 10 lakhs of equity shares issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. 10 lakh divided by 10 rupees. I will take 10 rupees as the value. So 1 lakh equity shares issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. I hope everyone has understood this. So bank account debit. You can just write here itself. Down I'll give you. Bank account debit to equity share capital. Account to security premium. Being first you can write how the amounts ಬರಿಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ number of equity shares to be issued is equal to 10 lakhs divided by rupees 10. The face value ತೆಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು, not the issue price. Face value ತೆಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು. So 1 lakh shares. The total 1 lakh shares into issue price is rupees 12. So 12 lakhs. Face value is credited to equity share capital account, which is 1 lakh into rupees 10, 10 lakhs, and this is 2 lakhs premium, 2 rupees. Being equity shares issued at how many equity shares you can write? Being 1 lakh equity shares issued at premium of rupees 2. Premium of rupees 2. Done. Last entry is to repay the capital that is directly preference shareholders account debit to bank account. How much to pay the preference shareholders? ಎಷ್ಟು ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು preference shareholders ಗೆ 10 lakhs ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. 10 lakhs being preference shareholders paid. That's it. Done. Once you're done with this, we will take our break. After the break, we'll continue the same session. I will continue. You can join the same live class, live stream. It will be on. So we will restart at 11:05. 13 minutes break. I'll see you at the end of these 13 minutes. See you. All right, let's continue the session. Hello, welcome back. I hope all of you have joined the session. Yes. All right, so let's continue with the session. So before the break, we were discussing about redemption of preferences. We already finished a couple of problems from the ICA material as well. Both of those questions were based on issue of fresh shares, right? Fresh issue of shares were made in both of the cases. So now let's discuss about. We'll take one more question. Question number illustration 6. If there's premium on redemption, yes, you will have to write it off, uh, Deepak. In case of premium on redemption, if there's no premium, then no write-off of premium expense. Okay, illustration 6. I hope you're looking at illustration 6. This is on page number 11.167. The following are the extracts from the balance sheet of ABC Limited as on 31st December 2022. Share capital 40,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each, fully paid. 4 lakhs, 1,000 10% redeemable preference shares of rupees 100 each, fully paid. 1 lakh. Reserves and surplus, we have capital reserve 50,000, security premium 50,000, general reserve 75,000, profit and loss account 35,000. On 1st January 2023, the board of directors decided to redeem the preferences in part by utilization of free reserves. You're required to pass the journal entries, including cash transactions in the books of the company. Okay, let's go through the question again. At this time, let's mark some important points required. So first, share capital is given, equity shares is given, 1,000 10% redeemable preferences of 100 each, 1 lakh is there. Then they have told here the board of directors decided to redeem the preferences at par. Okay, so the redemption is at par by utilization of reserves. So by utilizing the reserve, so they are going to create CRR. So there are two options in the section 55. One is to issue fresh shares, and the second one is to use the free reserves to create CRR. Right? We discussed both of these points earlier. So in this question, they're going for the second option. They're not going to do fresh issue. They're utilizing the free reserves. That means they're going to create CRR. CRR create part of it. Cool. So H2, what is the face value of the shares being redeemed? 1 lakh. So we have to create full 1 lakh ka CRR. Let's see if we can create 1 lakh ka CRR. To create 1 lakh ka CRR, we need free reserves of 1 lakh. So capital reserve is not a free reserve. It's not distributable as dividends. Security premium is not a free reserve. It is not distributable as dividends. General reserve is a free reserve, 75,000. So this is a free reserve. We've already discussed what is a free reserve. I hope you remember. In both this show, we have discussed it. Then we have profit and loss account 35,000. So we need total 1 lakh. So we can pick it in any sequence. We can pick 75,000 full from general reserve and remaining 25,000 from P&L account. Or you can pick 35,000 from P&L account and 65,000 from general reserve or any other proportion. There's no condition over here. Both are free reserves. Let's start with the entries. Draw the format for journal entries. Very simple, very easy. We don't need 1 lakh 10,000. We need only 1 lakh. So we have free reserves of 1 lakh 10,000. For CRR, we need only 1 lakh. because the face value of the shares redeemed is only 1 lakh. Journal entries in the books of ABC Limited. Okay, first we will pass the entry for announcement of redemption. So we have 10% redeemable preference shares. Account debit. It is being redeemed at par, right? There's no premium on redemption. So at par. So two preference shareholders account. One thousand into 100, that's 1 lakh. Being announced. Okay, next, are we what are we doing to satisfy Section 55 of the Companies Act? Are we issuing fresh shares or are we creating CRR, that is, utilizing reserves? Are we utilizing reserves or are we issuing fresh shares in this question? Here they have said by utilization of reserves. So therefore, now we will have to debit the reserve accounts and credit the CRR account to the extent of 1 lakh. 1 lakh into capital ನಾವು repay ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. So capital base intact ಇರಬೇಕು. So 1 ಲಕ್ಷದ ನಾನೀಗ CRR create ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ using the reserve. What reserves will I use? I have general free reserves, distributable profits only can be used. General reserve ಮತ್ತೆ P&L account ಉಂಟು. So I'll go in the sequence they've mentioned. So general reserve, account debit, we have 75,000 of general reserve. I'll use it all. Then we have P&L account. I don't need 35,000 P&L. I need only 25,000. I hope you have understood how I got that 1 lakh. 1 lakh is the face value of the preference shares redeemed. So ಅಷ್ಟೇ CRR create ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಎಷ್ಟು ಫೇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಇದು ನೀವು ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ರಿಡೀಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಇದು CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. 1 lakh ಅಲ್ಲಿ 75,000 is already debit ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಜನರಲ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Remaining 25,000 will be debited to P&L account to capital redemption reserve account. 1 lakh. Being CRR created as per section 55 of the Companies Act 2030. Done. Next, we will have to repay the preference shareholders. So directly the entry, preference shareholders account debit to bank account. How much is the liability towards the preference shareholders? 1 lakh rupees. So 1 lakh rupees will be paid to them. Being payment made to preference shareholders towards redemption. Over. We are done. That's all. Let's look at one more question. I hope you have finished writing. This is the simple. No, are you all understanding redemption of preference shares? Very, very easy. Okay. Now we're going to look at illustration 7. C Limited had 3,000 12% redeemable preference shares of rupees 100 each, fully paid out. The company had to redeem these shares at a premium of 10%. Okay, so they are redeeming the preferences at a premium. For the first time, we are seeing this premium of 10%. So it was decided by the company to issue the following 25,000 equity shares of 10 each at par, 1,014% debentures of 100 each. The issue was fully subscribed and all the amounts were received in full. The payment was duly made. The company had sufficient profits. Show journal entries in the books of the company. Okay, fine. Now let's just discuss this before we start doing the problem. Very simple discussion, very easy this question also is. But pay attention to some key points that I will tell you now. I hope everyone is listening. I hope I can start the discussion. So totally 3,000 preference shares is there. Face value is 100 each. So 3,000 into 100. So the total preference capital that will be repaid is 3 lakh rupees. More laksha face value preference shares into repay ಮಾಡಬೇಕು at a premium of 10%. So 3,30,000 ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ 3,30,000 ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ 3 lakh towards the preference share capital face value 30,000 towards the premium. I hope everyone has understood this. So the first entry preference share capital 3 lakh, premium on redemption 30,000 to preference shareholders 3,30,000. That's the first judgment. ಈಗ section 55 with the provision. Section 55 with the provision prakara. First point, you have to be very clear. We have to replace the capital, not the premium. So capital replace madlike. Section 55 prakara. The capital base should be intact. What should be intact is the capital base. Premium portion is not considered over here. Are you all understanding what I'm saying? So the 3 lakh rupees needs to be replaced. So how can we replace the 3 lakh rupees? Not 3,30,000. Although I am paying 3,30,000, 30,000 towards the premium, but capital base should be intact as per section 55. So capital base ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಫೇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 3 lakh ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯಂ ಬರುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರೀಮಿಯಂ ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಈಗ ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ 55 ಪ್ರಕಾರ. With what can we replace it with? We have two options there. One, you can do a fresh issue of shares, and the second one, you can use the reserves to create CRR. Error option to section 55 value. ಈಗ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ, I hope everyone has understood that what is to be replaced is 3 lakh face value. 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಈಗ ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು section 55 value. How to replace it? How many options do I have? I have two options. First option is to replace it with capital. Fresh issue of shares ಮಾಡೋದು. Shares. Second option, I can create CRR utilizing the reserves. CRR ನಾನು create ಮಾಡಬಹುದು utilizing the reserves. Now let's look at what they have done. It was decided by the company to issue the following: 25,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each. So 25,000 into 10. Okay, 2,50,000 into equity shares issue ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. So 3 ಲಕ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ 2,50,000 is coming over here only. So 2,50,000 into shares issue ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. This is, they're using option 1, they're issuing new shares. 1,014% debentures of 100 each. So ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ 50,000 ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟಲ್ಲ. 3 lakh ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2,50,000 ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಇನ್ನೂ 50,000 ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಉಂಟು. Can I consider debentures as fresh issue ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಡಿಬೆಂಚರ್ಸ್ ಅದು? Can I consider this amount also 1,000 into 100, 1 lakh? The answer is no, because fresh issue of shares can be done as per section 55. Section 55 is very clear, right? It is shares. Debentures is not considered over here. So over here they have said, or out of proceeds of fresh issue of shares made for the purpose of redemption. So not debentures. Debentures won't be counted over here. New debentures issue ಮಾಡಿ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ 55 ಅದು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಗೆ ಅದು ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಡಿಬೆಂಚರ್ಸ್ ಕೌಂಟ್ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಶೇರ್ಸ್, ಇಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಬಟ್ ಡಿಬೆಂಚರ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಕೌಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ while considering, we will consider only 2,50,000. So 3 lakh ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2,50,000 we're going for option 1. Remaining 50,000, what to do? What to do for the remaining 50,000? Section 55 is not fully compliant yet. Fully now comply ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ section 55 ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ. So what have they said? The payment is duly made. The company had sufficient profits. So the remaining 50,000 we will create CRR. As per section 55, I will create CRR for the remaining 50,000. They have said the company has enough profits, sufficient profits ಉಂಟಂತೆ. So CRR ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ನಾವು. So now ಹೇಗೆ ನಾನು section 55 ಅನ್ನು ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ, 3 lakhs ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. I hope everyone has understood. 3,30,000 ಅಲ್ಲ, 3 lakh. Although payment 3,30,000 ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಫೇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ನಾವು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು. So 3 lakh ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. 3 lakh ಹೇಗೆ ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ? Equity shares 2,50,000 ಇದು ನಾವು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ CRR, ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ನಾನು CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. 50,000 rupees ಇದು CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ. That's it. Okay. If you have understood this, then the problem is very easy. Let's do a working note before we start with the journal entries. Calculation of CRR to be created. Face value of preference shares redeemed, 3 lakhs. Less fresh issue of equity shares, 25,000 into rupees 10, 2,50,000. Therefore, CRR to be created . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 . 1,000 50,000. Now let's draw the journal entry format. I think the screen is stuck, no? 1 second. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Yes. Screen is stuck, but I am audible, no? Okay, the screen should be back in a while now. 1 second, let me fix it. Okay, the screen is also back, I hope. Yes. So take this down and then draw the journal entry format. Okay, now let's draw the journal entry format. Let's start. Journal entries in the bookshop. What is the name of the company? C Limited. Okay, before I forget, I'll announce the class timetable for tomorrow. So tomorrow's class will start it is a little different timings. General timing ಕಿಂತ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇರೆ ನಾಳೆ. Tomorrow evening the class will start. This is tomorrow's class schedule. So 6 p.m. onwards, we will start the class 6 p.m. and it will go till 9 p.m. 3 hours of session uh, from 6 to 9. Okay. Generally, I think your classes start at 5:30, but tomorrow it will start at 6 o'clock and we'll go till 9:30 tomorrow. Sorry, 9 p.m. tomorrow, not 9:30, 9 p.m. Okay. Now let's start with the redemption process. First, we will have to write off, or rather, we will have to announce the redemption. So, redemption is at premium over here. So, let's write the entry. It is 12% redeemable preferential capital account debit. Three lakhs, 3,000 into 100. Premium on redemption account debit. It's 10%, right? So 3 lakh into 10%, 30,000. Two preferential holders account debit, rather, two preferential holders account, not debit, credit. Preferential holders account, 3,30,000. Being redemption of preference shares, redemption of 3,000 preference shares announced at a premium of 10%. At a premium of 10%. Next, we will have to look at the section 55 conditions ಹೇಗೆ satisfy ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. Okay, they have issued the equity shares. Let me issue the equity shares. Bank account debit, 25,000 equity shares at rupees 10. So that's 2,50,000 to equity share capital. 2,50,000. Issued at par. Okay. They have issued the debentures as well. Although for section 55, I'm not going to consider this, but I'll have to pass the entry. Journal entry pass ಮಾಡಬೇಕು books ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So the entry is bank account debit. How many debentures is being issued? 1,000. This journal entry we pass. Okay. Section 55 calculations ಗೆ ನಾನು consider ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ working note ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಖಾಲಿ ನಾನು 2,50,000 ಮಾತ್ರ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಬಟ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ಟು 14% debentures account. One lakh. Being 1,000 debentures issued at par. Issued at par. Next, we'll go back to section 55, CRR creation now. We will have to create CRR. How much CRR we will have to create? We've done working note 1 for that calculation. 50,000 rupees into CRR create okay? So the journal entry is, I don't know what reserves they have, so I'm going to debit PNL account, free reserve, profit and loss account debit to CRR account. Working note 1, 50,000. Being CRR created as per section 55 of the Companies Act. 2013. Done, no? Next, we pay the preference shareholders ಅನ್ನು ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ 3,30,000 ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Preference shareholders account debit to bank account 3,30,000. Paid. Do we have the premium on redemption ಉಂಟಾ ನಮ್ಗೆ ರೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ? Yes, there's 30,000 premium. Last year ಅದು ಕೂಡ ರೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಡಿ. P&L account debit to premium on redemption account. There was that expense, no, ಇಲ್ಲಿ. This needs to be written off. 30,000. Done. Okay. Now let's look at illustration 8. Illustration 8. The capital structure of a company consists of 20,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each, fully paid up, and 1,008% redeemable preference shares of rupees 100 each, fully paid up, issued on 1/4/21. Undistributed reserves and surplus stood as general reserve 80,000, profit and loss account 20,000, investment allowance reserve out of which 5,000 not free for distribution as dividend. Okay. 10,000. Security premium 2,000. Cash at bank amounted to 98,000. Preference shares are to be redeemed at a premium of 10%. And for the purpose of redemption, the directors are empowered to make a fresh issue of equity shares at par after utilizing the undistributed reserves and surplus, subject to the conditions that a sum of 20,000 shall be retained in general reserve and which should not be utilized. Past journal entries to give the effect to the above arrangements. Fine. We read the question once, but we read it very blindly the first time. Now let's reread the question again. Let's understand what is happening. First, see how many preference shares are there. There's a redemption of preference shares. So let's directly look at how much preference shares are outstanding. There are 1,000 preference shares. Each preference share is of 100. So total 1 lakh preference shares are there which are due for redemption. Fine. What is the redemption condition? Here it is. Preference shares are to be redeemed at a premium of 10%. So 10% premium ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಈ preference shares ಅನ್ನು redeem ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. So that will be 1,10,000 will be the amount that is payable. Okay. Undistributed reserves and surplus stood as follows. So we have general reserve, we have P&L account, we have investment allowance reserve. This is interesting. Look at this. Investment allowance reserve, out of which 5,000 not free for distribution as dividends, 10,000 is there. So total 10,000 investment allowance reserve unto, otherly 5,000 is blocked towards investment allowance. The other 5,000 is a free reserve. Okay. So E 10,000 only 5,000 matra is blocked towards investment allowance. 5,000 is to be considered as free reserve. We can use it over here. Security premium can't be used. Cash at bank 98,000. Fine. Preferences are to be redeemed at premium of 10%. And for the purpose of redemption, the directors are empowered to make fresh issue of equity shares utilizing the undistributed reserves, subject to conditions that a sum of 20,000 shall be retained in the general reserve and which should not be utilized. Okay, so let's. What I said is they're going for a combination of both fresh issue and they're going to take CRR. First, our health use the undistributed profits, create CRR first again, CRR ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಾ ಅಷ್ಟು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಉಳಿದದ್ದು ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಉಂಟು ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಉಂಟು. ಜನರಲ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 20,000 ಇಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ how much reserves are available. Okay, first general reserve. General reserve ಈಗ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 80,000. Okay, we'll do the working note. Working note ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮಾಡುವ ನಾವು. Working note 1. Have you all understood the question? Have you all followed the question? Have you read it with me? It's a combination of both CRR as well as fresh issue. ಎರಡು ಕೂಡ combination ಉಂಟು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ. Calculation of CRR to be created. Okay. General reserve. So general reserve total 80,000 unto Nanatra. But in this 80,000, we have to keep how much is to non retain madbekanta helidara. How much is to be retained? We have to retain 20,000 rupees, right? 20,000 is to be retained. So we have 60,000 general reserve available for the CRR. CRR ಗೆ 60,000 reserve ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. Next, profit and loss account. Now here there is a very important point, okay? P&L account. P&L account only 20,000 unto, but remember there is premium on redemption. A premium on redemption write off ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ P&L balance ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. There's premium on redemption. How much premium on redemption is there? Because the preferences are being redeemed at 10% premium. So our 10% write-off ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಂಗೆ P&L ಬೇಕು. So I'll have to keep that much balance of P&L towards the write-off. So total 20,000 onto, but I can't use all 20,000 required for premium write-off. How much do we need for premium write-off? Premium is to premium on redemption is to 1 lakh is the face value of the preference shares into 10%. 10% is the premium percentage. So 10,000. So we have another 10,000 of P&L. Any other free reserve unta investment allowance reserve, out of which 5,000 is not available, but 5,000 is available. So investment allowance. So directly I'll write in the outer column only 5,000. Therefore, total reserves available for CRR so security premium unto consider ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ ಇಲ್ಲ cash at back is not a reserve at all ಅದು ಹಣ ಎಷ್ಟು ಉಂಟಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಅವರು so 75,000 is the total reserves available ಹಾಗಿದ್ರೆ working note 2 how many equity shares what is the value of the equity shares that will have to be issued ನೋಡಿ section 55 prakara the capital must be replaced with capital right the capital piece must be intact so total 1 lakh worth preference shares are being redeemed in that 1 lakh 75,000 ಇದು ನಾನು CRR create ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ so how much fresh issue should I do the balance is fresh issue how much is the fresh issue then the fresh issue will be 25,000 rupees calculation of equity shares to be issued. Have you all understood this? Am I clear with this? If you've not followed something, please let me know. One lakh is the face value of the preference shares which are redeemed. $75,000 is the CRR create ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ because ಎಷ್ಟಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು CRR create ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅವರು ಸೊ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಉಳಿದದ್ದು 25,000 equity shares face value of equity shares to be issued. Now journal entry format. Draw the format for the journal entry, please. Okay. First, due entry for redemption, preferential capital account debit. Sorry, what preferential shares are these? By the title of the shares also. 8% redeemable preferentials. That will be 1 lakh. This premium on redemption, 10%, which comes up to 10,000. 1,10,000 is payable to the preference shareholders. At a premium of 10%. Okay, first part is done. The second part is section 55 with the condition satisfy model. Let's create the CRR. What and all am I using to create the CRR? Working note 1 node, general reserve 60,000, P&L account 10,000, investment allowance reserve 5,000. So total 75,000 ಇದು CRR create ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. So general reserve account debit 60,000 rupees. P&L account will be debited with 10,000. Investment allowance reserve will be debited with 5,000. To CRR account, capital redemption reserve account. ₹75,000. being CRR created from the free reserves as per section 55 of the Companies Act 2013. I hope everyone has understood this creation of CRR. They had told us in the question that create the CRR to the extent possible and remaining do fresh issue. So I have created CRR to the extent possible. We had 75,000 of free reserves available for CRR. So we have created CRR to the extent of 75,000. And remaining 25,000, we're going to issue the shares. Bank account debit to equity share capital. This is working out 2. We had calculated this 25,000 being fresh issue of equity shares recorded. And finally, we will have to repay the preference shareholders and also we will have to write off the premium on redemption. So preference shareholders account debit to bank account. We will have to pay them how much? 1,10,000. Also, write off the premium on redemption, P&L account debit to premium on redemption account. 10,000 was the premium on redemption, right? We had kept this 10,000 aside in P&L account because we had to debit it for the premium. Now, ಇಲ್ಲಿ calculation ಮಾಡುವಾಗಲೇ 10,000 ಬದಿಗಿಟ್ಟದ್ದು because premium write off ಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. We are done. That's it. Okay. Simple question. Once you understand the whole thing, it's very easy to do. Okay. There's some small concepts left. Major stuff done. Now, small concepts are left in preferential redemption. So it's a very small chapter and a very easy chapter. Okay. Small concepts. What are the concepts left? So we have already finished the first illustration, second, and fifth. Fifth question is done, right? No, fifth we did not do. Sixth we did. Seventh we did. Okay. Now, one small concept is there. Quickly, I'll discuss it and we will close it. Uh, sir, now let's take one example. I'm redeeming preference shares of 1 lakh. 1 lakh ಇದು preference shares redeem ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. I'm saying I will do fresh issue of shares. Fresh issue of equity shares ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. Two options ಉಂಟಲ್ಲ, CRR create ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ or fresh issue ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ನಾನು fresh issue ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. Fresh issue of equity shares ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. The face value of equity share is, let us say, 7 rupees. Nandu face value, Nana shares to 7 rupees. Generally, it's 10 multiple of 10 ಇರ್ತದೆ, 10, 100 ಹಾಗೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. But nandu ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ unique company, so ನಾನು 7 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ. Tell me how many equity shares should I issue? ಎಷ್ಟು equity shares ನಾನು issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? 1 lakh divided by 7. ಎಷ್ಟು equity shares issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? 14,285.714. Sir, can I issue a share in fractions? Then 0.714 share issue ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತದ? Can I issue 0.714 shares? The answer is no. You can't issue shares in fractions. You will have to issue it in whole numbers only. So we can't issue it. You get 0.7414 ಎಲ್ಲ issue ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So we will have to issue it in whole number. So what will be the whole number? 14,286. 14,286 shares ಅನ್ನು ನಾನು issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, equity shares ಅನ್ನು issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Okay. Now, what if I had told you that, let's say this is not, let's take one more example. Preferential capital is 2 lakhs. Now tell me how many shares should I issue? ಎಷ್ಟು shares issue ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾನು if the preferential capital is 2 lakhs? 7 rupees is the face value of each share. So we will have to do 2 lakhs divided by 7 rupees. How many shares do you get? 2 lakh divided by 7. 28571.42. I can't issue 0.42 shares. So now I will have to round it off. Now remember, round off ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ next whole number ಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಆಯ್ತಾ? It's always done to the next whole number, not the nearest whole number. ಅಂದ್ರೆ 71 ಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ, 72 ಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Next whole number ಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So 28,572 ಬರ್ತದೆ. That is the correct answer. Not 571, not the previous whole number. Generally, we rounding of rules ಹೇಗೆ nearest whole number ಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು 0.42 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮುಂಚಿದು whole number ಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು. But in this case, not like that. It should be done to the next whole number because ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲಿಯಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ if you do 28,571 shares 28,571 into 7 rupees 1,99,997 ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So 2 lakh is not replaced by 2 lakhs. Condition is not satisfied as per section 255. Capital base should be intact. The capital base must be same. If it is more, no problem. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಬೇಸ್. ಮುಂಚೆಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು. ಸೊ 2 lakh ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಿಯಾದ್ರೂ 28,571 ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ದಿಸ್ ಮಚ್. ಇಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತದೆ ನಂಗೆ 1,99,947 ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೌಡ್. ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ಮುಂಚೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಅದ್ರಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ 28,572 into 7. 4 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. 2,04,000 rupees ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೈನ್ ವಿತ್ ಅಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡಂಟ್ ಬಿ ಲೆಸರ್. I hope all of you have understood this. And sometimes the company may also decide ಹೀಗೆ ನಾವು odd numbers ಅಲ್ಲಿ 571, 572 ಹಾಗೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ನಾವು ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ 50s ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ 50s ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ 28,572 ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ 50 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ 50. ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ನಾಟ್ ನಿಯರೆಸ್ಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ಸೊ 28,572 ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ 50 ಇಸ್ 28,600. ಸೊ 28,600 shares ಅನ್ನು ನಾನು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. If the question says that you have to issue it on multiples of 50 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 28,600 ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಾನು. Even if it is 28,551 ಬಂದಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ if they say multiples of 50, I will do 600 ನಾನು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. So next multiple of 50 ಅನ್ನೇ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. Because if I do 28,550 again ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನೇ ನಾನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ. Have you all understood this? Have you all followed this concept of rounding off? Okay. Let's look at illustration 3 now. Okay, not this. Illustration 4 now. We'll look at illustration 4. Question 4 noduva, illustration 4. The board of directors of a company decided to issue minimum number of equity shares of rupees 9 to redeem 5 lakh preference shares. The maximum amount of divisible profits available for redemption is 3 lakhs. Calculate the number of shares to be issued by the company to ensure that the provisions of section 55 are not violated. Also determine the number of shares if the company decides to issue shares in multiples of 50 only. Okay, so what is the preferential capital over here? Preferential capital is to Nodi. In the board of directors of a company decided to issue minimum number of equity shares of 9 to redeem 5 lakh preference shares. So the maximum amount of minimum ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು equity shares issue ಮಾಡುವ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ. That means ಫಸ್ಟ್ CRR ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಉಳಿದದ್ದು equity shares ಮಾಡುವ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ equity shares issue ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ equity shares issue ಮಾಡುವ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So maximum amount of divisible profits available for redemption is 3 lakhs. So 5 lakhs is the value of the preference shares. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆ CRR ಗೆ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಉಂಟು. ಸೊ 2 lakhs ಇದ್ದು ನಾನು equity shares issue ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. I have to issue 2 lakh equity shares. So 2 lakh of equity shares I'll have to issue. Face value of one equity share is 9 rupees. So 22,222.22222 equity shares I get. I can't issue 0.22222 equity shares. I will round it off to the next a whole number which will become 22,223 equity shares. 22,223 equity shares. You can see the calculation. I mean, you can write this down, but very simple. 5 lakh is the face value of the preferential capital, nominal value means face value. Maximum possible redemption out of profits, ಅಂದ್ರೆ CRR. CRR ಗೆ 3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಉಂಟು ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಅವರೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ನಮಗೆ 2 lakhs ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಈಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ 2 lakhs ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಪ್ರೊಸೀಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಒನ್ ಶೇರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟೋಟಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಈಗ. 2 lakh ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ಬೈ 9, 22,222.222 ಬರ್ತದೆ. I can't issue fractional shares. Therefore, the minimum number of shares to be issued is 22,223 shares. If it is in the multiple, they have said, what if it should be in the multiples of 50? If it's in the multiples of 50, then I will take the next multiple of 50 to this 22,223 to multiple of 50 and the other 22,250 shares. You can take this down in your notes. Very simple solution. So it's there in the textbook. Should we still write it? Yes, you have to write it so that you get hands-on experience with the infrastructure. Done? Yes. Do this question, please. Try this question on your own. Now, I want you to try this now and tell me the answer. It's a similar question. Try this question. Are you done? Yes. Let me check your answer. Book. So we have 2,50,000 preference shares minus 1,50,000 of. Deepak, are you sure about the number of ones in your answer? Check your answer again. Okay, 1 lakh is to be redeemed through free this one fresh issue. So 1 lakh divided by 9. So you get 11,111.11, or it will be 11,000. Correct, correct. Deepak's answer is right. 11,112 if it is normal. If it is in the multiple of 50, then it will be 11,150. Have you all followed this? Have you all got this answer? 11,150. 1 lakh equity shares will be 1 lakh worth equity shares will be issued minimum. So 1 lakh divided by 9 rupees, you get in decimal 11,111.11, which will be rounded off to the next whole number, which will be 11,112. Multiple of 50 will be 11,150. Okay. Let's go back to the questions. Illustration 3 is a simple question. G India Limited had 9,010% redeemable preference shares at 10 each. Fully paid up, the company decided to redeem these preference shares at par by issue of sufficient number of equity shares at rupees 9 each, fully paid up. You are required to. Okay, this is very simple. This is issue. They are issuing equity shares and replacing the preference share capital. Nothing interesting here. So that you can do. You can try on your own. One more question. This illustration 5. Let's do illustration 5 now. This is a good question. So here, sometimes we might not issue equity shares to satisfy Section 55, but we might issue equity shares to raise money. We have to also pay money, right? So for the payment sake also, we might issue the shares. So that might be the basis of calculation. We'll read the question and we'll understand what is it about. X Limited gives you the following information as of 31st March 2023. So shareholders' funds, share capital is there, reserves and surplus is there. Current liabilities, we have trade payables, property, plant and equipment, non-current investments, 18,500, current assets, 31,000, cash and cash equivalents. Very important question. Pay attention when I discuss this. The share capital of the company consists of 50 rupees 50 each equity shares of 2,25,000 and 100 each preference shares of 65,000. Reserves and surplus comprises profit and loss account only. In order to facilitate the redemption of preference shares at a premium of 10%, the company decided to sell all the investments for 15,000 to finance part of the redemption from company funds, subject to leaving a bank balance of 12,000, to issue minimum equity share of 50 each to raise the balance of funds required. You are required to pass the necessary journal entries to record the above transactions. Okay. So here they have said that these preference share capital will be redeemed. How many preference share shares are there? So 100 each preference shares of rupees 65,000. So amount is given 65,000. So these are being redeemed at a premium of 10%. So plus 10%. So we will need a total of 65,000 plus 10% is how much? 71,500. So how are we going to finance this 71,500? See this. To sell all the investments for 15,000. So this is about financing. Okay. The company decided to sell all the investment of 15,000. So 71,500 cash ಬೇಕು ನಂಗೆ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. 15,000 ಇದು ನಾನು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. To finance the part of redemption from company funds subject to leaving a bank balance of 12,000. So company ಹತ್ರ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಹಣ ಉಂಟು, 31,000 ಹಣ ಉಂಟು. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 12,000 ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಂತೆ, ಇಡ್ಬೇಕಂತೆ ಅವರು, ಮುಂದೆ ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೂ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್. ಉಳಿದದನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ 31,000 ಅಲ್ಲಿ 12,000 ಇಡಿ. ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್? 19,000. 19,000 ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ರಿಡೆಂಪ್ಷನ್, ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಂಗೆ 37,500 ಬೇಕು. ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್. 71,000 ಟೋಟಲ್ ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 15,000 ವಿ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಹಣ. Then we are using 19,000. Sorry, 71,500 ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ. 71,500 ಬೇಕು. So 15,000 ಮತ್ತೆ 19,000 ಎಲ್ಲಿಗಾಯ್ತು? So we still need how much? ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಗೆ? 37,500 rupees ಇನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಬೇಕು. So for that, what are we going to do? To issue minimum equity shares of 50 each to raise the balance of funds required. So equity shares ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. 37,500 ಇದ್ದು 50 rupees each. So divided by 50 ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 750 shares ಬರ್ತದೆ. So 750 into 50, 37,500 ಇದ್ದು equity shares ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. Then we will have to see how much CRR is to be created. 37,500 ಇದ್ದು ನಾನು equity shares issue ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. Although the purpose is not section 55, the purpose is for money. ಹಣ ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ನಂಗೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು 37,500 with equity shares issue ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. That can be used for section 55 also. So ಉಳಿದದ್ದು ನಾನು CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಟೋಟಲ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ 65,000, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 37,500 equity shares ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಉಳಿದದ್ದು 27,500 ಇದ್ದು CRR ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. I will create CRR of the remaining 27,500. That's all. Very simple. We'll do some working notes and then pass the journal entries. Have you all followed what I just said? What I just blabbered? Did you all understand it? Working note 1, calculation of. You'll understand more when we do the question, okay? Pay attention. Calculation of equity shares to be issued. Amount required for redemption. This is, I'm just showing you the calculation, what we did on the calculators. So we will need 65,000 plus 10%. This 10% is towards premium. 71,500. How are we going to source the 71,500? Hana illinda bartada. So first we will be selling the investments. Investment in the value books list unto. What is the value of investment in the books? Balance sheet investment in the value 18,500 unto non-current investments. We are selling it for 15,000. Andre 3,500 loss agide. Sale of investments 15,000. Hana ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಬರಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Cash which we are obtaining 15,000 rupees. Less. We have the bank balance, no? How much bank balance do I have which I can use for redemption? I have total 31,000 bank balance, but I can not utilize all the money because 12,000 is to be left. in the bank itself. So 31,000 minus 12,000, 19,000 ಆಯ್ತು ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಇರುವುದು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಉಳಿದದೆಲ್ಲ equity shares ಇಂದ ಬರಬೇಕು. So they have set to issue minimum equity shares to raise the balance of funds required through equity shares. 37,500. Done. That's all. Working note 2 will also calculate how much CRR is required. Calculation of CRR required. This is as per section 55. Fresh issue. Two options we have: fresh issue and CRR. So we are already doing a fresh issue 37,500 ಇತ್ತು. ಉಳಿದದ್ದು CRR ಇಂದ ತೆಗೆಯುವುದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. What is the face value of the preference shares redeemed? 65,000 rupees. No. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ face value of fresh issue of equity shares. 37,500. The equity shares are being issued at par itself. They have not mentioned it, but it is at par itself. So 37,500. ಉಳಿದದ್ದು through CRR. 22,500. No, no, 1 minute. 65,000 minus 37,500. 27,500, not 22,500. 27,500. Now we will go to pass the journal entries. All the numbers are ready. X limited.
Long format, lots of entries to be done. All that sale of investment and all has to be recorded. Okay, first the due entry for redemption. So the due entry for redemption is we have what preference share capital is this? Not given. So I'll just write preference share capital account debit 65,000. There's premium on redemption. %10 to preference shareholders 71,500. Being redemption of preference shares at a premium of 10% announced. Done. One entry, the due entry. Next, I'll just follow these sequence. Sale of investments is happening, 15,000. The book value was 18,500. So bank account debit 15,000. There's a loss of 3,500, which will be debited to the loss on sale account or P&L account. You can debit the P&L account directly to investments account 18,500. So the journal entry for sale is this: bank account debit 15,000 rupees. This is the amount we are getting in our bank account. There is a loss which I will debit directly to the profit and loss account. Loss on sale 18,500 in the investment. Nanu 15,000 ಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. So 3,500 is my loss on sale to investments. 18,500 being investments sold at a loss. Next, let's issue the shares. Bank account debit. How much shares am I issuing? We are issuing 37,500 worth equity share capital. Bank account debit 37,500 to equity share capital 37,500. How many equity shares I can calculate? No, we calculated 50 rupees. So 37,500 divided by 50. Just for the narration's sake, I'm calculating. Being 750 equity shares issued at par. Okay, next, let's create CRR. CRR create ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ reserves ಎಂತ ಉಂಟು ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ? Reserves and surplus comprises profit and loss account only. So 48,000 unto, but 48,000 now ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ utilize ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ for the loss, booking the loss on sale, but it doesn't matter. We don't need that much. We need only 27,500 CRR. So let's create CRR. P&L account debit. 27,500 to CRR account 27,500. This is as per working note number 2. CRR we needed as per working note 2 we had calculated, no? Being CRR created as per section 55 of the Companies Act 2013. CRR created, done. Now we have to go ahead and make the payment. Let's make the payment. So preference shareholders account debit. Section 55 done, no? Everything done. Now just going and making the payment. 71,500 to bank account 71,500. Being amount paid to preferential holders. Being amount paid to preferential holders. And then finally, we will have to write off the premium. This premium, right? So debited to profit and loss account. So P&L account debit to premium on redemption account. 6,500. 6,000. Write the narration for it. Okay, I hope we're done. So that's it. There's one more concept left in redemption of preference shares, that is partly paid shares ಇದ್ರೆ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡುದು ಅಂತ. As per the law, we saw that as per section 55, I can't redeem preference shares which are partly paid up, right? ಸೊ ನಾನು ಹೇಗೆ ಎಂತ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಆಗ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಉಂಟು, ಒನ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಅದೊಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು. ದಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಇನ್ ದ ಟುಮಾರೋ ಸೆಷನ್, ನಾಳೆ ಸೆಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡುವ. ಅದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಪೇಡ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹೇಗೆ ರಿಡೀಮ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್. ಫುಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇಡ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಡೀಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರೋದು. ನಾಳೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋ. ಓಕೆ, ಸಿ ಯು ಟುಮಾರೋ ಗೈಸ್. Bye bye. Have a happy Sunday. Study well.